right, so on our previous video, we showed you guys how to burlap and foam the backrest of this hot rod seat. We're gonna show you the cushion next. I didn't do the cushion the first time because we have to do repairs to it. So I'm not gonna bore you and do everything we did in the last video over again. I'll show you how we do a quick repair on this, and then we're gonna move to actually starting to sew the cover and putting it together, which is gonna be real fun. So if you hadn't seen our first video, we actually went through, and this seat was actually, had two springs that are broken, and we want to repair them before we put together. All right, so I just took this spring out and welded it. So yeah, there's like, controversy on welding spring steel because it could change the rate of the spring and it could break or something like that, you think. So I haven't had a problem with it. So I welded it, and what we're gonna do is I wanted to show you guys the Baker clips. I can't show you the Baker clips because we're out of Baker clips. I went to go get them. So I'll show you the tool and what kind of they're similar to. So a Baker clip are these here, and they're basically, if you imagine a clip similar to this, except for it has one center tooth that's really long and then two shorter ones on the outside. And what you do is you put this tool, you put them in this tool, and it actually sits in that groove. And then when you squish it, they go around and they actually roll around and kind of grab each other and then hold the seat together. So we're missing one, and I have to get the seat done. So we're just gonna see if we can make something work with this, which is gonna be really tough. Not as tough as I thought it was gonna be. So that actually crimped pretty good right out of the gate there. All right, perfect. So that actually did pretty good. I'm just gonna spin this and I'm gonna grab some tin snips and just cut this off. Okay, so we did that. Now I just want to recrimp this again. Nice. Actually worked pretty good. Okay, so now we put the spring in. It just twists on the bottom here. Comes over the top. It's a little spiral. And then we just got to put the springs in, which is pretty easy. Okay, so springs are in. One thing I like to do, which I know is controversial, everything we do is so controversial in upholstery, I like to add burlap webbing. So some people complain. They say, modern springs should have modern materials, metals, and stuff like that. We have burlap seats that were done in the 20s that are still together, that are good. I have used burlap a million times. I probably made thousands of Model T interiors where we use webbing on every single seat, and I can honestly say the only time I can remember that we ever had a warranty one or redo one, not even warranty it, was because the car was in a car accident, but it was so bad that the seat was destroyed. But other than that, I have good luck with it. So what I'm going to do is, as an added precaution, I'm just going to put a couple through here, and the way I do that, I like to do it is I'm going to hog ring this to the front here so you can see that. So we're going to do here, hog ring this to the front. Now on the wood frame seats that we do, like for the antique cars and some of the hot rods, we'll use a webbing stretcher, right? So a lot of people think this is some medieval torturing device, but it's actually a webbing stretcher. And on what you do is you take this little rubber part and you grip it on the edge of the wood, and you have these teeth grip the actual webbing, and then you just pull it back, and you see with very ease how much pressure this could put on there. On these, I'm not using it like that. I don't really want to have it that tight. It's just an extra precaution. You see how easy these seats are to move? I just want a little added precaution on here. So I'm gonna take this, trim it a little long. I'm gonna put some pressure on it, but not enough to really, just enough to move the seats, not enough to do a lot of stuff. And what this is just gonna do is add a little extra protection, so when you're sitting on it, it will be slightly firmer, but it will keep the springs together. And I'll show you how and why, because if you watch our previous video where we showed you how to do the burlap, we actually went through and attached a lot of the springs to the burlap, and that keeps everything from wanting to fall apart, because these springs do lose tension over years, and you can see there's really not much to these things. They're just very flimsy and floppy. We do have to go through and make sure a lot of these things are still in before we burlap this, which we didn't have to do on the backrest to see with that video. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go through and do a couple of these, maybe just 3. We fixed the springs, so the seats are going to be firm. I got to replace one more spring, but I just want to show you this first. Originally, I wanted to do this hot rod seat build in one video, but then I realized there's a lot to learn for people that are doing this stuff. So we'll break it up into a bunch of small segments like we just did. And then you can kind of see the whole process at your leisure. Sometimes it's hard if it's a 3-hour long video to get the time to do it, but it's very easy to watch 10-minute videos. So when I hog ring too, I always want to make sure, I've said this in the other videos, that our material, or our hog rings, we want the smooth part of the hog ring here. We don't want the sharp parts facing up or out. Even though we're putting foam on this seat, and it is going to be, probably 1.5 inches thick, you don't want to ever take the chance of having an actual hog ring pop through and poke a cover or something like that. On the front, you have a lot. If you ever look at a seat, which upholsterers are going to be mad at me for saying this, but if you look at the front of the seat and you see bumps on it or you see stuff down here, that's usually because people didn't do that, or they might not have enough material to hide that, because like we'll put like a foam or something on there, which we're going to be doing on this seat. One of the things I found is a lot of people, like when you buy kits, seat cover kits, they'll have so foam on the top but nothing on the sides, and it makes it easier when you pull it to take out any wrinkles. But I know if you put a little so foam, even a 1/4 inch so foam, yes, it adds a little bit to the girth, so you have to be careful if the seat, make sure the seat fits in the vehicle, but it always takes away any possible bumps on there, and it just gives it a nice, better feeling. And then what I'm going to go through is I'm going to weave just 2 across here, across the whole seat. I'm only concerned with the driver's side of this seat right now, just because we don't have any issues on it. If there was bad springs or something questionable, I'd probably just do this over the whole seat. So now we're just going to go through and do the over-under trick. Well, actually under-over. So we went under this burlap, over the middle one, and we're going to go under this one, right? And now the next one we're going to do the same thing. So by doing this, this is going to firm up the seat quite a bit for this customer. So this one, we're going to go over now, under, and then over, right? And I'm going to put one more across it, and then this will be good enough for what we did. We didn't get paid for this, but we just like to do things right because it's the right thing to do. If I had a seat being done and I didn't know about this, I would appreciate somebody taking the time to do this. So now this one's going to be under, over, under, just like the back one is, right? Okay, so obviously you saw that. I am going to go through, and wherever this burlap ends up falling, I'm going to try to hog ring it to a bunch of these springs. So we'll just go through, I'll show you one here, and then we're going to jump to the next step. So with this one's in, I just grab the spring underneath it and clamp it, right? Push my hog ring, make sure it's down. So this is going to lock this spring in place here. So if we do randomly do a bunch of these things, it's going to keep the springs from wanting to fall over. So when you sit on it, you'll be going down versus having the springs spread out. So one thing I wanted to say I forgot is I was telling you that with the hog ring pliers, I use the pneumatic ones. They're a lot faster. But on our channel, we're trying to show it so that people at home could do stuff, and it's way easier for you to grab handheld hog ring pliers. But the pneumatic ones, I'll show you how much quicker they are. You literally pull it tight, zap it. Yeah, it speeds up a lot. So now you can see the seats are foamed up and ready for the cover. We jumped way ahead. If you want to see how we did this, watch the previous video of this.